Today we'll be making a mid-2000s deathcore kit using Superior Drummer 3, Modern Metal, EZX Metal Machine, a little bit of EZDrummer 2, and that should be about it. Oh, and lastly, the Drums of Destruction EZX pack. That's probably the most important thing here. So anyways, the first thing you're going to load up is the Drums of Destruction library into the EZDrummer thing. So you're able to have all this, all this good stuff in the mixer, which is, you get like overhead rear, extra hats, you get splash bell stuff. You get the kick right and the kick left, which is sweet. And you can control the volumes of each kick. So we'll go through very quickly with what we got. The first thing is the kicks. I leveled them a little bit, 7.5 dB. Left one's a bit less, and there's going to be a little bit of air every time I hit the kit because it has stuff on it. These kicks are 18x24 Tomastar Classic Bobinga. Very clicky and perfect sounding, so I chose that. For the toms, we have the same type of set, the Classic Bobinga going all across. 9x10, this is 10x12, this is 14x16, and it looks like a friggin' electronic kit pad. I don't know why, but I think it's because it's a rack tom. Yeah, it thinks it's a rack tom, but it's actually a floor tom. This one is also a floor tom, and it's the last one of the set, 16x18. Next thing is the snare. The snare, we have this Pearl reference 6x14 inch. Sounds very good. Sounds terrible with the reverb, but you won't really hear that in the mix. And we have this EZDrummer 2 Pearl Vinnie Paul's signature maple, and lastly this IOT Maple Classic, just for extra body, extra depth to the snare. Next we have hi-hat. Hi-hat, we ended up using a Zildjian Z custom master sound from the Metal Machine EZX. This sounds really good. Next thing is the ride. So the ride is a giant 21-inch ride, and it's a Zildjian A Mega Bell ride. And I've maxed out the volume because the rides are usually pretty quiet, and I've tuned it up about 7.5, so it kind of makes a higher bell sound, almost like a cup chime. So really cool. Next, we have this China. So this China, it's a smaller China because I wanted to cut through more. The other Chinas were not doing it for me, so I had to use that one. Dropped it a bit in volume, and that's pretty much it. And as for the main crashes, the 18-inch meinl bizzance, traditional medium crash, and I kept that smaller size. It was like a different one on the preset, but I changed this one, and this one should be the same as default preset. 14-inch. Wow, that's small. It sounds good, so cool. And then all these other cymbals I have not changed. They've just kept them the same. Little splashes, there's little bells, and cool stuff like that. That'll add to your deathcore kit sound. Next thing we're going to do is jump in the mixer real quick and just see some basic stuff that I did. So I did add some top end on the snare because I thought it was a little dark. Also added some reverb to the snare, and let's look at that. A plate reverb with 10 millisecond pre-delay, so a little bit of reverb time. Just messed with some parameters here, 100% wet. And then I also sent some snare to this other track, distorted kind of track. I put a valve distortion box in a tape simulator, and it kind of sounds horrible. But that's what you want. Makes it a little more abrasive and adds some more attack to the snare. Next, on the toms, I added a little bit of reverb, just going to the same one as the snare bus, just to make it a little more cohesive sounding. EQ'd out some of the lows and the low mids out of the overheads. Pretty common thing to do. A little more reverb on these extra snare samples. On the kick, I cut out some papery stuff right here. Just sounded like, it sounded fine. It was just wanted to scoop it a little more. And then I added a little bit of click at 8K area. And yeah, that's for the mixing inside EZDrummer. Now we're gonna look at it on the outskirts of Ableton. First thing I have is an API 550A from Waves. And this, I just kind of boosted the high end at 10K, just one thing, and 400 hertz, notched down a little bit. Also took down the output because it was a bit loud, and also turned on the analog. Next thing, I put a CLA 76 compressor, just kind of bringing up the whole kit in general, and also taming the snare hit. It's not doing much, but it's doing something. The Sheps 73. It's my first time trying this plugin, but I just wanted to add some color to the drums with this preamp thing on. Next, I have the SSL comp. Now, with Ableton, for some reason this doesn't update as you play the sound. I might just have to reinstall the plugins, but I put it on the punch preset and didn't touch anything else. Next, virtual mix rack, Slate Digital. I put it on drum bus thick and a little bit of high end, kind of changed this frequency to between 1.6 and 3.2K and boosted a little bit. And that's pretty much it. Next, I kind of cut out some really low sub just because it sounded a little bit money, so I just kind of tightened it with this 4-band or ×4 low cut. That's everything. So let's check out the kit. I will put this kit in the description so you can download it and play around with it, and let me know what you make. Peace.